In the annals of European history, few figures stand as tall as Prince Eugene of Savoy. A military genius, a statesman, and a patron of the arts, his life was a tapestry of triumph and tragedy, woven against the backdrop of a continent in turmoil. Join us as we explore the extraordinary life of Prince Eugene of Savoy, a man whose legacy continues to inspire and amaze. Born into a noble family, Eugene's journey took him from the courts of France to the battlefields of Europe. His strategic brilliance and unyielding courage earned him the respect of kings and the fear of his enemies. This is his story. Eugene of Savoy was born on October 18, 1663 in Paris, the fifth son of Eugène Maurice, Count of Soissons, and Olympia Mancini, a niece of Cardinal Mazarin. Eugene's early life was marked by the intrigues and politics of the French court. Despite his noble lineage, Eugene's path to greatness was far from assured. His mother, Olympia Mancini, was a formidable figure in her own right, but her ambitions often clashed with those of the powerful King Louis XIV. This tension would shape Eugene's early years and set the stage for his future achievements. The Hôtel de Soissons, the family's residence in Paris, was a hub of political and social activity. Here, young Eugene was exposed to the machinations of the court and the expectations of nobility. However, his true calling lay not in the salons of Paris, but on the battlefields of Europe. From an early age, Eugene showed a keen interest in military affairs. His education was rigorous, and he excelled in the arts of war. But it was his experiences in the Great Turkish War that would truly test his mettle. In 1683, the Ottoman Empire laid siege to Vienna, marking the beginning of the Great Turkish War. This conflict would become a defining moment in Eugene's career. At the age of 20, he joined the Imperial Army and quickly distinguished himself as a brave and capable commander. Eugene's bravery during the Battle of Vienna earned him the respect of his peers and the attention of the Holy Roman Emperor, Leopold I. This was just the beginning of a long and illustrious military career. In response to the Ottoman threat, the Holy League was formed, an alliance of European powers determined to halt the Turkish advance. Eugene played a crucial role in this coalition, using his strategic acumen to coordinate the efforts of the Allied armies. Under Eugene's leadership, the Holy League achieved a series of decisive victories, pushing the Ottomans back and securing the borders of the Habsburg Empire. While the Great Turkish War raged in the east, the 9 Years' War erupted in the west. This conflict, also known as the War of the Grand Alliance, pitted France against a coalition of European powers. Eugene's skills were once again in high demand. Eugene's campaigns in the 9 Years' War further enhanced his reputation as a military genius. His tactics and strategies were studied and admired by his contemporaries, and his victories helped to shape the political landscape of Europe. In 1697, Eugene achieved one of his most famous victories at the Battle of Zenta. Facing a much larger Ottoman army, Eugene's daring tactics and inspirational leadership turned the tide of the battle, resulting in a crushing defeat for the Turks. The Battle of Zenta marked a turning point in the Great Turkish War and cemented Eugene's place in history as one of Europe's greatest military commanders. As the 17th century gave way to the 18th, Eugene's star continued to rise. His military prowess and political acumen made him an invaluable asset to the Habsburg Empire, and his influence extended far beyond the battlefield. The War of the Spanish Succession, which erupted in 1701, was a complex and far-reaching conflict that involved many of Europe's major powers. Eugene played a pivotal role in this war, leading the imperial forces against the armies of France and Spain. Eugene's campaigns in the War of the Spanish Succession were marked by his characteristic brilliance and daring. His victories helped to secure the Habsburg claim to the Spanish throne and reshape the balance of power in Europe. In recognition of his military achievements and strategic acumen, Eugene was appointed president of the Imperial War Council in 1703. In this role, he oversaw the planning and execution of the Habsburg Empire's military campaigns, further enhancing his influence and reputation. Eugene's tenure as president of the Imperial War Council was marked by a series of successful campaigns and strategic innovations. His leadership helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position as one of Europe's preeminent powers. In 1704, Eugene achieved one of his most famous victories at the Battle of Blenheim. Alongside his ally, the Duke of Marlborough, Eugene's forces defeated the Franco-Bavarian army in a decisive engagement that turned the tide of the War of the Spanish Succession. The Battle of Blenheim was a testament to Eugene's military genius and his ability to inspire and lead his troops. His victory at Blenheim is still studied and admired by military historians today. Eugene's campaigns in the War of the Spanish Succession were not limited to the battlefields of Germany. In 1706, he led a daring relief of the besieged city of Turin, turning the tide of the war in Italy. The following year, he attempted to capture the French port of Toulon, though this campaign ultimately ended in failure. Despite the setback at Toulon, Eugene's campaigns in Italy and France were marked by his characteristic brilliance and daring. His victories helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in the Mediterranean and reshape the balance of power in Europe. In the latter stages of the War of the Spanish Succession, Eugene achieved a series of decisive victories at the battles of Oudenarde and Malplaquet. These engagements, fought in 1708 and 1709 respectively, were marked by Eugene's tactical brilliance and his ability to inspire and lead his troops. Eugene's victories at Oudenarde and Malplaquet helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in the Low Countries and pave the way for the eventual conclusion of the war. His leadership and strategic acumen were instrumental in bringing the long and costly conflict to a close. As the War of the Spanish Succession drew to a close, Eugene found himself increasingly isolated on the battlefield. His ally, the Duke of Marlborough, had been recalled to England, and the political landscape of Europe was shifting. Despite these challenges, Eugene continued to lead his troops with characteristic brilliance and daring. Eugene's final campaigns were a testament to his military genius and his unyielding determination. His victories helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in Europe and cement his place in history as one of the continent's greatest military commanders. In 1716, the Austro-Turkish War erupted, pitting the Habsburg Empire against the Ottoman Empire. Once again, Eugene's military prowess was called upon to defend the borders of the empire. His campaigns in this conflict were marked by his characteristic brilliance and daring, and his victories helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in the Balkans. Eugene's leadership in the Austro-Turkish War was instrumental in bringing the long and costly conflict to a close. His victories helped to reshape the political landscape of Europe and cement his place in history as one of the continent's greatest military commanders. In the aftermath of the War of the Spanish Succession, the Quadruple Alliance was formed, a coalition of European powers determined to maintain the balance of power on the continent. Eugene played a crucial role in this alliance, using his strategic acumen to coordinate the efforts of the Allied armies. Eugene's leadership in the Quadruple Alliance was marked by his characteristic brilliance and daring. His efforts helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in Europe and reshape the political landscape of the continent. As Eugene entered the twilight of his life, his influence and reputation remained undiminished. His military achievements and political acumen had earned him the respect of kings and the admiration of his contemporaries. But his later years were not without their challenges. In 1716, Eugene was appointed Governor-General of the Austrian Netherlands, a position he held until his death. In this role, he oversaw the administration of the province and worked to secure its borders against the threat of French invasion. Eugene's tenure as Governor-General was marked by his characteristic energy and determination. His efforts helped to secure the Austrian Netherlands' position in Europe and reshape the political landscape of the continent. In 1733, the War of the Polish Succession erupted, pitting the Habsburg Empire against a coalition of European powers. Once again, Eugene's military prowess was called upon to defend the borders of the empire. His campaigns in this conflict were marked by his characteristic brilliance and daring, and his victories helped to secure the Habsburg Empire's position in Europe. Eugene's leadership in the War of the Polish Succession was instrumental in bringing the long and costly conflict to a close. His victories helped to reshape the political landscape of Europe and cement his place in history as one of the continent's greatest military commanders. As Eugene entered the final years of his life, his health began to decline, but his spirit remained undiminished and he continued to play an active role in the affairs of the Habsburg Empire. On April 21st, 1736, Eugene passed away in Vienna, leaving behind a legacy that would inspire generations to come. Eugene's death was mourned throughout Europe, and his funeral was attended by dignitaries from across the continent. His life and achievements were celebrated in art, literature, and music, and his memory continues to be honored to this day. Despite his public achievements, Eugene's personal life was marked by a degree of solitude and introspection. He never married and had no children, preferring instead to devote himself to his military and political careers. But his private life was not without its passions and pursuits. Eugene was a voracious reader and a patron of the arts, and his private collection of books and artworks was one of the finest in Europe. He was also a devoted friend and correspondent, and his letters offer a rare glimpse into the private thoughts and feelings of one of history's most enigmatic figures. Throughout his life, Eugene was a passionate patron of the arts. His collection of paintings, sculptures, and other artworks was one of the finest in Europe, and he was a generous supporter of artists and writers. Eugene's patronage of the arts was not merely a private pursuit, but a reflection of his deep commitment to the cultural and intellectual life of his time. His support for artists and writers helped to foster a vibrant cultural scene in Vienna and beyond, and his legacy as a patron of the arts continues to be celebrated to this day. In the centuries since his death, Eugene's reputation as a military genius and a statesman has only grown. His life and achievements have been the subject of countless books, films, and documentaries, and his legacy continues to inspire and amaze. Eugene's military victories and political achievements reshaped the landscape of Europe and secured the Habsburg Empire's position as one of the continent's preeminent powers. But his legacy extends far beyond the battlefield and the council chamber. His patronage of the arts, his commitment to intellectual and cultural pursuits, and his unyielding courage and determination continue to inspire generations of admirers. Prince Eugene of Savoy was a man of many talents and many passions. His life was a tapestry of triumph and tragedy, woven against the backdrop of a continent in turmoil. But his legacy endures, a testament to the power of courage, determination, and the indomitable human spirit. This is the story of Prince Eugene of Savoy, a man whose life and achievements continue to inspire and amaze more than 3 centuries after his death. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, share, and subscribe for more historical content. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past.